Good morning, everybody. I hope you can hear me. And welcome to Healthflix. It's really such a pleasure to launch this. This has been a labor of love and a lot of work for a bunch of us over the last 2 weeks. And before I start talking about Healthflix and the transformation of lives and coping right now during this most challenging of times, I just want to thank everybody who has made this possible. So first of all, anybody who shared this with anybody else, and if after this you continue to do that, thank you. But my gratitude also goes out to Leah Merrick, who's the manager of the Minded Institute, Nick and Holly from GUI Digital, Lee Watson from Fierce Calm, Matt Taylor, Pat Gebarg from Breath, Body, Mind, Riva Baines and Diana from Wanderlust, Nicole Schackenberg, Paul Fox from Yeehaw, Luke Lithgow, and Amanda King from the College of Medicine, Yoran Bol from Meta Yoga, and Elizabeth Stanley. So really, almost like a small village has come together in a short period of time to offer this service for free. And I want to just give you a little bit of background. 2 weeks ago in one day, so 2 Mondays ago, when I realized that we would also in the UK be on lockdown, I felt rather helpless. So one of the things that I have been doing for the last 3 years in this country, in the UK, in case you're listening from somewhere else, has been focusing on yoga as a platform to increase social connectedness. So in the UK, we have this thing called social prescribing. It recognizes the value of social connectedness and health. People who are socially connected tend to eat better and exercise more. And there's also something amazing about the co-regulation of the cardiovascular and nervous system with positive connections with others. And so there is now a scheme called social prescribing where a primary health professional can prescribe an individual into an activity group of their choice. And so yoga has reached aspects of the NHS through that. And I've been working on that. And I thought, and now here we are, after 3 years of working so hard on that around the yoga domain, we're left without that accessible at the moment. I need to do something. And I racked my brain and I thought, I have it. I know loads of people around the world, mind-body experts with really open, kind hearts. And I bet if I reached out to them, they would all be willing to come together to provide free talks, presentations, guided practices to the public to help them through this time. And not only that, it occurred to me and others when we started to talk that maybe we don't want to go back to the way things were before. Maybe this period, which comes with enormous challenges and of course suffering, we can at the same time learn to do things differently. I know for myself and many others around me that we're super busy and often we forget what is most important in life as we're just running through it at hyper speed. We have an opportunity right now. Many of us are home all the time. I know that's not everybody, but many of us. And so it is a chance to cook healthy food, to have the time to really cook healthy food, if we're not doing that already. And even though we might not be able to see them, it is an opportunity to connect through video software like this with our family and friends that we love, and maybe we're just too busy to see because of the speed of life. It's an opportunity as well to learn something. I've had friends that have started to read books that they have had on their list for 10 years, learn skills via the internet that they have not taken up, but have imagined they wanted to be involved in for much of their life. I myself would love to take up playing the piano. I'm not sure though I can get a piano here in this period. So that's another opportunity. And then there's the piece that maybe is truest to my heart, which is using this challenging time in order to cultivate my mind, in order to balance my mind. Something that many of us know is absolutely vital, but yet again, I just need to do the next thing. We just need to get that done. This has to happen first, or we sit down to meditate or to clear the mind or do whatever it is that we use in order to help ourselves be tranquil, and that gets put on the back burner. Now, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. Not loads, right? This isn't a biography, but just a little. So from the age of 10 to 23, I suffered from depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress. And it really came to a head at the age of 23. So rather than continuing with my life in New York, which is where I'm from, although I don't reside there, I opted to go to Southeast Asia and very soon started to live in Buddhist monasteries. It wasn't really my plan. It just kind of organically happened. And when I got there, I thought, okay, this is going to be a fix-it. I'm going to sit down, I'm going to meditate. It's all going to be cool. Meditation's going to make me instantly chilled. But that was not the reality at all. When I closed my eyes and started to meditate in the different monasteries, all the stress of many years of my life was highlighted even more. And I thought, well, this isn't good for me. I'd rather just run around and distract myself. But I had this very wise teacher, Udamarikita. And he said to me, stress will always exist in life. Your mind will always have the propensity to suffer. This is your opportunity to see the mind's patterns and to bring it back to the here and now, to learn to balance it. It was challenging, but I spent 3 years doing it, living in monasteries on and off, and a lot of time with him. And I remember when anything would be difficult or hard, like something would happen in the monastery, even in monasteries, difficult things happen sometimes. He'd say, fantastic. That's just another opportunity for you to practice. And why do I say this? Because now, when possibly we are more afraid than we have been in a very long time, maybe even ever, for our health, for our economic safety, for anything else that's arising, we might think, all I need to do right now is make sure that I am safe. Buy just another mask, which I'm not knocking. Of course, keep yourself physically safe and do all of the things you can to prevent yourself from getting COVID-19 if you don't have it. But do you spend all your time on that? And if you're concerned about your economic future, I get it. You need to make plans, concern, think of alternative strategies. But if you spend all your time on that, and the other thing, you would never have a chance to take this golden opportunity where the world's kind of stopped, to just learn to be with your mind, to learn to develop equanimity. Something I learned in all of the years of my meditation, which was this. You can have the most difficult external things occurring, really, really tough stuff, loss of people you love, loss of jobs, health issues, etc. And still, if the mind is balanced, because you've trained it to be, you can feel solace inside. There's a place of joy and equipoise that can exist for you, regardless of external circumstances. And on the flip side, I've also learned that if your mind is not balanced, you can have a pretty good life with very few problems and not be able to manage the slight vicissitudes of day to day. And so again, I call on all of you to please use this time. This is really what Healthflix is about, helping you to relax and to cope, and then empowering you at the same time to work towards personal transformation. And I know that we only have it listed now for 2 weeks. Who knows? Maybe it'll be longer. But you can take all of these talks, because it's also being live streamed on YouTube, where it will then be held, and continue to watch them and practice the skills that are meaningful to you in an effort to really use this time wisely. Now, that being said, this whole 30 minutes that I'm going to be speaking before I take questions, I don't want to spend just on the talk. I want to actually take us through a practice, something that I believe can be transformative, something gentle and basic, but that nonetheless offers much benefit. So we'll use the yoga strategy of moving into a balanced mind, which is movement, controlled breathing, and meditation. So that's what we're going to do for the next 20 minutes. What I'm going to do is very basic. So if you are sitting down and do not wish to stand up, that shouldn't be an issue for you. You can do the same movements that I'm going to do standing. So I'm going to get up now, and I'm going to push my mat back, and we're going to do a few simple movements together. Here we go. Remember, a healthy mind resides in a healthy body. So let's just start with our feet hip distance apart. And let's inhale, lift the arms up overhead so it's coordinated with the breath. Up, up, up. And exhale, come down. Inhale, come up, right? And you can be doing this sitting. And exhale down. And last time, inhale up. And exhale down. We're going to lift the arms out to the side and then lift the toes up rather than the heels. We don't work on our feet enough, I think, in society. And actually, they take the weight of the body and they really need our attention. So inhale, lift the arms to the side as you lift up your toes at the same time. So some coordination. Inhale. Exhale down. Inhale up. And exhale down. One more time. Inhale up, arms and toes. Exhale down. And let's open the shoulders, an area of the body that tends to get very tight. So let's take some what I call windmills. Inhale up, open wide, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down, and really try to bring the mind to the body. Keep going. That's part of this cultivation. Right? These movements, and especially yoga, is not just about the movements. It's about bringing the mind to the body, really clearly feeling it. Go the other direction now with the windmills. Really sensing into areas of openness and tension. Listening to the body, hearing the body, coming out of the constant mental chatter so we can pay attention to what our needs actually are. Good. And let's just do some shoulder rolls. Inhale, exhale. Inhale up, exhale. Inhale, exhale. And the other way. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. And again. Lovely. And let's come to the front of our mat. Right? If you're not on a mat, it's absolutely fine. You don't need to be. Again, what I'm going to do, you can do in sitting. Right? So inhale, lift the arms up overhead. Exhale, reach forward at the hips. If you are standing, feel free to bend at the knees and place the hands on the thighs. Inhale, look up, straighten back. Exhale, fold. So the sitting, you can be folding forward. And inhale, reach, rise, and lift. And really stretch and feel the length of your body. Exhale, bring the energy back down towards the heart center. I'm going to do this 2 more times. Inhale, reach, rise, and lift. Exhale, hinge forward at the hips. Feel free to bend through the knees. Relax the neck and head. Press into the legs and look up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach, rise, and lift. Exhale, come down. And one more time. Inhale, reach, rise, lift. Exhale, hinge forward from the hips. Feel free to bend the knees. Place them on either the legs or the shins if you're standing. Inhale, look up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach, rise, and lift. And exhale. We're going to come into cats and cows now. So on the hands, and you have the knees bent on one. If you are sitting, you can do the same thing with your back in the sitting position. Inhale, arch the back. Exhale, roll the spine towards the ceiling. Continue to be with your breath. Continue to bring your mind back to the here and now. Inhale, arching, looking up. Exhale, rounding. Inhale. Exhale. And one more. Inhale. And then finally, exhale. And we're going to take 2 movements in sitting, and then we'll be done with the movement portion. Or maybe 3 movements, let's see. So come into a comfortable seated position if you weren't in one right now. And let's take a side stretch. So we're trying to stretch the spine in all of its different possible ranges of motion. Place the right hand on your right side. Inhale, lift up the left, soften the shoulder, reach up. And inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Continuing like this. Really reaching. And place the hands down. On the other side, lift up the right arm and right hand, soften at the shoulder. Left hand supporting you, and you're reaching. And you're breathing. The awareness. And come down. And now let's take a spinal twist. Place your left hand on your right knee. Place your right hand behind you. Lift up the heart center, twist. Look over your right shoulder. And just breathe here. Just breathe. Bring the mind to the body, to the feeling of the twist, to the experience of the breathing. Bring it here. And release. On the other side, right hand on left knee, left hand behind. And you're twisting, breathing, twisting with awareness, feeling the back, maybe the neck. And come back around. And the last movement, I'll add one more. Bring the legs out in front of you. You can still do that if you're even sitting in a chair. Inhale, lift your arms up overhead. Exhale, soften the shoulders. and reach forward towards your feet. You don't have to touch them though. You might just be touching your legs or your knees, but keep the back straight rather than rounding. Relax the neck and head. Feel the pull behind the legs and just breathe here. Breathe with awareness. Continue to bring the mind here. Inhale out. Exhale release. Lovely. We're going to come into breathing. Breathing with control, obviously, because you've been breathing the whole time. I hope you have. I'm going to teach you a breathing technique that if you've watched any of the things that I've done before, you may be familiar with. If not, this breathing technique affords you much greater control over the breath. It also helps to reduce stress. And through the slow, controlled breathing, that it allows you to be able to practice with greater ease. It is hypothesized that it may be able to inhibit inflammatory factors, thereby reducing inflammation. So it's called Ujjayi breath, or we translate it into English as ocean breath because it sounds like the ocean. And it sounds like this. We'll just do it on the exhale for those of us new. Inhale. Exhale. Now, if you are familiar with it already, I ask you to start practicing it. If you are new to it, bring your hand up in front of your face. Inhale naturally and exhale. Like you are fogging up a mirror. Looking at your beautiful face shining back at you. Inhale naturally. Just like that. One more time. Inhale naturally. Lovely. And all of us are now going to be practicing it through the nose. So again, if you're familiar with it, keep practicing. For those of you new to it, place your hands on your throat. Because if you try to push it through your nose, often you reverse sniff. We want to avoid that. So place 2 fingers on your throat ever so gently. Inhale naturally. And exhale, imagine breathing out of your throat. Your mouth is closed. Inhale naturally. Exhale that gentle ocean sound out through your throat. If you're new to it, it might feel a little bit alien. Try and do it softly. You'll get the hang of it as you keep practicing, not just now, but in the future. Inhale naturally. Exhale long. And I have chosen this breath. Just listen as you practice. Because the elongation of the exhalation is one of the easiest ways through breathing to calm down the nervous system. Every time we exhale, we message to our heart. And those messages, those chemical messages, reduce the rate of the heartbeat. And they also reduce the intensity of contraction. So as you do this, you calm your cardiovascular system, your nervous system, your respiratory system, but also by doing all of those things, you make it easier for your mind to just come back. The busy mind, the mind that wants to fix everything, the mind that doesn't want to watch itself because there's just too much going on. So we practice in this way. Inhaling naturally, exhaling long ocean breath to bring our mind back again and again and again. And this is the cultivation. How do we balance the mind? There's not some really super fancy, sophisticated technique. It is the simplicity. It is the willingness again and again and again to bring the mind back from all of its stories to something simple like the breath. Developing attentional control. No, 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 I'm not going to worry and ruminate about that for hours. I'm choosing to come to the breath. I thought about that thing already. I think I have a solution. I'm not sure if it's going to work. Now I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to keep causing stress. I'm going to let my mind reside on the breath. That's a choice, and that's attentional control. And in that process, not only is the mind not engaged in worry, but it's learning to just be in the present moment. To not need so much stimulation, to not cause so much stimulation. And in that place, slowly, slowly, it's just peacefulness. And also the ability that when challenging things really emerge, say, this is how my mind is responding, and I can still bring it back to balance. And in that, I can respond more effectively. Keep breathing. Just keep doing this with me. It's only this. It's only bringing the mind back. I say only, but to practice it. To get the mind to be willing to keep coming back. It's a challenge. One that you can meet. And one that if you keep practicing, you will find becomes less difficult. Continue with the ujjayi, the elongation of the ujjayi, the ocean breath. And now let go of the controlled breathing. We've set the stage now to bring the mind to the body and then to calm the mind through the breath, so that now we just watch. We feel the breath and the inhale moving through the nose into the lungs. We feel the breath and the exhale moving out of the lungs. And maybe we even mentally note inhaling as we breathe in, and exhaling as we breathe out, working to bring the mind here, helping it. It's not used to this for many of us. It needs our support, so we tell it what's happening, what we'd like it to attend to. And if thinking does happening as thinking will, it's fine. Just mentally note, thinking, so that your mind knows what's happening. And then you can bring it back. It is only through awareness of all of the thoughts that we have and how fast they occur that we are able to train the mind to let them be. So we note when we sense thinking. We come back. And we realize that breathing and thinking are just natural processes. We're teaching the mind which one we want it to attend to. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Inhaling, exhaling, it's just this dance between watching the breath and noticing the thinking. When the thinking is made aware, when we've shown the light of attention onto it, we simply come back to the breath again. Recognizing that every time we're aware we're thinking, we should not be judgmental, but celebrate that we noticed. Our mindfulness, our awareness, our ability to come back to the breath is growing. And tell your mind now that we're going to come out of the formal practice, but you can continue to do it as I speak about other things if you'd like. It's listening, maybe that's hearing. It's up to you. So I just want to say, before I open the platform for questions and express where that is, that feature on Zoom, that it is important for us to do this, not only for ourselves, but for the world. You know, Proust once said, self-care is a political act. And I truly believe that in different ways. First of all, if we don't take care of ourselves, and especially our minds, we go out into the world and we can cause chaos. If we balance our minds on purpose regularly, we can go out into the world and we can share well-being with others. When somebody is frustrated or angry, we don't need to respond in kind. In fact, we can shift this. When somebody is lost and alone and scared and overwhelmed or sad, we have the ability to show up for that person more effectively. And then there is taking care of our own health, and that is a political act. So right now, in many countries in the world, at least before coronavirus, 70% of the healthcare budget was absorbed by non-communicable diseases or non-infectious diseases, diseases that are primarily the result of lifestyle. And that has placed undue, unprecedented pressure on the health services and the healthcare staff. The things that many of us can prevent if we eat better, if we exercise just a little bit more, if we balance our minds, because actually stress is a contributing factor to many diseases, an aggravating factor in many others. And so if we manage our stress effectively, we're much less likely to present to A&E or to our GP. And so as we take care of ourselves, we make those resources for acute care more readily available for people who have conditions in which lifestyle is not a primary factor. So this is about each one of us taking care of ourselves and the benefits that can be accrued. and the overall communal social benefit of self-care. So please take this time now at your home. This is kind of my clarion call to everybody. Use it. Use it to strengthen yourself, even if you're not well, to strengthen your mind. And just one more piece of information and then questions. It is being theorized right now. Theorized. That doesn't mean it is accurate. That reduction of stress makes our immune systems more resilient to virus, specifically to COVID-19. So the more you reduce your stress, the more you calm yourselves down, the more likely it is that should you become unwell, that it won't be as severe. Of course, there are many mitigating circumstances, and that is not a guarantee. Now, I'm happy if any of you want to share or ask questions. It can be both like a community platform or just, Heather, I'd like to ask you this, although I didn't do like a presentation, so to speak. At the bottom of your page, you will see that there is a Q&A feature, and you can write in there, and I'm more than happy to answer your question, or you can say something in the chat, and I'll read it out to everybody about what you might want to share with other people. So go ahead and use it. Otherwise, I'll just be continuously talking. I'd really love to hear from you. So again, at the bottom of the page, we've got a question. Can you watch the talk again? Yes, it will be on the Healthflix YouTube channel. We're live streaming right now. And then after that, it will be downloaded and available, at least mine. I can't say for all the speakers till time immemorial. So yes, you can. Anyone else? Oh, gratitude. Thank you. Thank you for the gratitude. I'd also like to share my gratitude for all of you who showed up here. How about this question I pose to you? What kinds of things would you like to see on Healthflix? What would you like to learn? I mean, we have a packed schedule, but we still have a few slots. Is there anything that anybody would like to learn? More on anxiety. Okay. I'm going to be doing some sessions next week on anxiety, and I think that my other session this week is on breathing and anxiety. Oh, thank you, everybody. Thank you. Yeah. You know, anxiety, I feel like, is my domain because I've suffered from it so much in my life, and I teach all these workshops on anxiety as well. So it's an area that I know a lot about in terms of techniques. Some pranayama practices, and thank you for doing this. Okay, so in terms of the pranayama practices, so that you know, I have been doing about every other day or every 2 days these free breathing seminars. You can sign up for those on the Minded Institute website if you want, and on the Minded Institute channel, we have a bunch of things. Oh, you're ready so fast, suddenly. We have a bunch of things that you can view now as resources, so you can go there. But I will be teaching about pranayama on my next session, which I think is Wednesday or Thursday of this week. I have asthma. What technique do you suggest? So that is, we're going to have, by the way, Ayurvedic techniques and some tips. For asthma, I don't really have time today to address it. Just gentle, slow breathing, I would say, to start with, but we will definitely consider that in the program. I think that's important because it keeps coming up as a question. The difference between meditation and reflection, okay? I'll answer that just really briefly, because I think I don't know if we need to do a whole session on that. Meditation in English comes from the Sanskrit word bhavana, which means to cultivate. Now, a reflection can be a cultivation. We might want to cultivate an aspect of mind, like the ability to be on the breath, or loving kindness, the ability to do that, or the ability to be more compassionate. We can also have a cultivation practice, bhavana, a meditation, where we are reflecting on aspects of ourselves in order to develop maybe more of that aspect or to reduce that. But bhavana, meditation cultivation, is not generally analysis. And so there is a difference. Meditation is not about imagining, thinking what we can do differently or how we should be doing things, but rather just focusing the mind on something specific. So that is one of the, or probably the most prevalent difference. Self-discipline, yeah. I know self-discipline is really, really difficult. One of you wrote about that. It's always hard. But if you show up one session, all of you, every day at the same time for the next 2 weeks, you will start to build it. You just need to get into a habit, actually. And once you start to get into that habit, it just becomes part of your routine. You know, my meditation teacher used to say to me, and then Satmir Khalsa, who's speaking later today and has been a mentor for me in my life, also says that these mind-body practices should be hygiene. Do you know that until the early 1910s, people didn't brush their teeth? It wasn't a thing. And then suddenly, due to this campaign in the United States, I'm not going to go into it, people started to brush their teeth, and it became a habit, and we do it every morning. Very few of us would leave our houses without brushing our teeth. And yet, we would leave our houses without balancing our mind. And as my teacher used to say, there's really never been any major problems caused in the world from bad breath, but so many from an unbalanced mind. So it's about getting into the routine and also recognizing the social value. So you can do that. You can build it up now, get into routine, and remember that you're doing this for yourself and others. The other thing around discipline is, and this is done when we're trying to motivate people within healthcare, is can you determine what your obstacles to your discipline are? And at the same time, what your highest motivating factor is, just one thing. What is the most important thing to you truly? Not what you tell yourself, but what you really, really want from life. And can you use that as a guide to every day say, I'm going to do this again because it will help me to get closer to that. And I don't know what this thing is you're going to do, but choose something that will help you get closer to that goal. And then this will foster discipline. And again, you get into the habit. So everybody, thank you so much for joining. Please do your part by sharing this. Sharing this with people who don't usually do mind-body techniques. That's the most important. We want to reach out to everybody. And we want to help people that never did any movement like yoga or Tai Chi or Qigong, or don't dance, don't do any singing at home, meditation, healthy cooking, to have a resource. So please, please share it with people, with your family and friends, if you are yoga teachers or health professionals or whatever, with your students and patients. And I wish you a lovely rest of your day. And do tune in for the rest of our speakers, the amazing Michael Lee of Phoenix Rising Yoga, Jivana Heyman, who started the accessible yoga movement, and Dr. Satmir Khalsa, the most well-respected yoga researcher in the world, to understand why yoga has such a significant benefit for body and mind from an evidence-based perspective. Have a lovely day and be well, take care of yourself, balance your mind. And if this was helpful, watch it again on YouTube. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye.